Yo, what's poppin', everybody? It's your boy, Mike Gomes. Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into it, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and most importantly, go in the link in the description or go to joinblueprintrei.com to get in that free private Facebook group. I'm hosting a Zoom out of there next week, Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, breaking down how we get somebody their first deal. But today, what we're going to go over is a live seller call. I get people DMing me all the time like, yo, Mike, can you drop more seller calls? Can you drop more seller calls? So we're going to hit y'all with some sauce today. We're going over a sub 2 seller call. Okay. What a sub 2 is, for those of you who don't know, it's when you buy a property with the mortgage in place. The mortgage stays in the seller's name and you purchase it and you make it one of your rentals or whatever the case is. But the mortgage stays as it is already. So it stays in their name. It's just now our responsibility. So let's get into the call.
Hello.
Hey, is this Ben?
This is.
Hey, Ben, my name's Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, brother. Karen was telling me about the property in Athol.
Yes.
I know she said to call between 4 and 5, but I'm just trying to crank out my calls before I leave the office early today.
Yeah, no worries. I hopped away for a second to take a break anyway.
Love it. Okay. Well, could you catch me up to speed on what's going on with the house?
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So I've had that house for like ever. It was all caught up. It was all paid up to date. When I left that house maybe like 3 years ago, I think it was down to like 154,000. And I was looking to sell it at the time, but my sister also lives in that town and she was having problems at her apartment. So since I was moving out, the mortgage was obviously cheap as all hell because I bought it in like 2006. And the mortgage was like something silly, like $800 a month. So the plan was that she was going to move into the house as I moved out and I would just keep it under my name and she was going to pay the mortgage.
Okay.
So she never paid shit. It's like,
dang,
not a damn thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, at this point now, it's something absolutely obnoxious, like 46 months or 47 months behind.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So the bank has since transferred it to a different loan manager.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, they're not going to accept the payment less than whatever the past due amount is, which is something gross, like $23,000 or something like that. So I originally started looking at selling it, well, like the beginning of last year, but she didn't have another place to go, so I had to hold off. So the newest development, she had, and then like, and so we made plans like for the past month and a half to sell the house because she was going to be out of it. And then like 3 days before she moved in, that all fell through. So now she's forced back into the house. And by default means that I'm forced to hang on to the house.
Holy crap. Okay. So as of now, you have your sister living in there who is not on the deed. You are on the deed and your name is on the mortgage. She's just pretty much living there as a tenant, not paying. You're behind about $23,000 in back payments on the mortgage, and your sister doesn't really have a place to go.
Yes. Although her situation has changed a little bit too. So, and you know, this was the story the first time as well. But now, if I can modify the mortgage and rework it and get a mortgage payment, she has a roommate that's moving in with her and she'll be able to pay it.
Okay.
That's what sucks for me is if I remodify that mortgage again, it's already fucked because like I said, like years ago when I moved out, the payments were down to like 154,000 total left on the house. Since she hasn't paid that entire time, now the total is up to like 200,000.
Holy crap. Okay.
And if I remodify this mortgage again, they're going to take that 22,000 that hasn't been paid yet, and they're going to wrap that on the back side of the ball.
Exactly.
And it's going to go up to like 220, 225. Something obnoxious for a total payoff amount, which basically means that house will never get paid off.
Right. And then you'd have a new mortgage of somewhere well over 800.
Yeah. It'll be around like $1,400, $1,600.
Right. Okay. All right, cool. Well, what's an ideal situation in your mind?
I mean, I was, until I talked to your people, I was under the impression really my only option was to re-modify the freaking loan again.
Yeah.
And if she defaults again, I'll just have to like write it off on a bankruptcy or something, which is what I was hoping to avoid. But I mean,
Okay.
as like, I'm at like a crossroads right now because even if I told her that she couldn't move back in and she still had to find a different place, and I went and sold it now, I could go do some work to it. I think it owes like 220, so I could probably, like the principal payoff balance of the house is like 200 around there, and I could probably go. I'm an electrician and I do construction work anyway, so I mean I can go fix it up with minimal, like $2,000-3,000 worth of work.
Okay.
And I could turn around and sell that for 220,000. I think it's estimated for 240, but I mean it's not in pristine condition. And I'm not going to go like re-renovate the entire thing.
Okay.
I should be able to get it pretty off easy at 220, and that'll be just about breaking even.
Right.
But the other question is, am I going to get slammed with the fucking taxes? Because when I bought that house originally, I bought it for like 120, and now I'm going to be selling it for 220. So even though I'm not really gaining any money, I'm barely breaking even and not getting a penny. Are they going to slam me on taxes for that 220?
Well, it's about liquid cash that you receive, right? So if you don't receive any liquid cash on it, then they look at it pretty much as like a loss.
Okay.
But that's the thing, right? So for us, we buy fix and flips all throughout Massachusetts, and that's our main thing that we do. So we buy houses in cash to renovate them, and then we put them back up on the market. That's like our main bread and butter. Now, obviously, here with a total payoff of about 220 and 240 being like the resale of it, obviously, there's probably not really a play for that. But we just did a deal, and we do deals nationwide, not just in Massachusetts. And we just did one in Arizona. This lady bought a house in Arizona. She planned on moving there with her boyfriend. This is back like right when COVID hit. And she planned on moving there with her boyfriend. They didn't end up doing good together, so they never moved there. And she just thought it would be a good idea to never pay her mortgage. So about 3 months ago, it ended up coming to the point where she was about to get foreclosed on. And then I got the call and she's like, hey, I owe like $20,000 in back payments on this mortgage and I'm about to get foreclosed on. I don't know what the heck to do. So I'm like, hey, why don't we help you with that $20,000? Now there was a couple different options that we could have went with that, but we helped her out with the $20,000 in back payments. And then what we did is we just took deed of the house. So we are now the owners of that house in Arizona, and we're paying monthly on behalf of her on the mortgage payments. So now the mortgage is now our responsibility. It's still in her name, but it's our responsibility as we are the owners of the house, and we just make it one of our Airbnbs. So that's one thing that I'm thinking here might solve the problem. Like if I could solve the problem in any way. But then the other question is like, what happens with your sister?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that would be the only thing that I could really look at is if you guys wanted to buy it as like a rental property. And I mean, if she screws up with you guys, then you have to boot her. That's one thing. But like if she was planning on renting and she was able to pay and she was fine from here on out, I mean, that would be up to you guys. But I mean, I wouldn't be able to like, let it go into somebody else's hands if they had the intention of like booting the tenant and flipping it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, there really wouldn't be a spread to do that anyways. It would be more of a long-term play for us, just for like tax purposes and stuff like that. Right. So we could visit something like that. And if we did, there would be two different options. There would be one, and I don't know, I'd have to go back to underwrite and see exactly what the options would look like. But from a broad standpoint, one of the options could be catching up, and we come in and we catch up the back payments of $23,000. We reinstate the loan, and the loan is in good standing. And then from there on forward, we are now in charge of making those payments. We are the owners of the house. So whenever anything happens, like a pipe burst or something crazy like that, that's our problem. So that's the first option. or the second option could be what you're saying, going out and getting that loan modification and then us taking the property over. So it's just like, it's kind of tit for tat. You know, you have a really good loan right now of $800. So it just kind of depends on the underwriting, right? But there's pretty much two options: going out, getting the loan modification, and then we would do the type of deal that I'm saying right now where we take over the mortgage payments, or just catching up the arrears and we take over the $800 payment every single month. So we could do one or two of those things. And I mean, at the end of the day, we can give your sister a shot at it if she's going to pay the market rent that we're going to need in order to make it an ideal rental for us. Then we have no problem keeping her in there. But at the end of the day, we would just need somebody that was performing on it.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I would be fine with that. Believe me, if it was anybody else but her, I would have already moved him out of that
house. No, I got it. It's hard, man, especially in Massachusetts with these tenants. It's like, and then you get family involved. It's a difficult situation. So I get it.
Yeah. But I mean, the property value on that place since I got that loan has like friggin' skyrocketed. Like that's almost double what I bought that place for.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's actually more than double.
When did you say you buy it?
I bought that in like 2008, 2007, 2008.
So you bought it when the market crashed?
Yep.
Love it. Cool, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, we can do something, either one of those two options. I'm thinking those are the only two options that we could tackle at this point. I mean, at the end of the day, what it would do for you is it would kind of alleviate you of having the burden of being the landlord with your family members in there, potentially not paying rent or anything like that. That can just be on us. This is what we do full time. So
yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what I'm looking for. I mean, this place is screwing me over so bad. I mean, granted, I should have been paying attention to the mortgage, but she never told me she wasn't paying it.
What the heck?
I called the bank and I had her assigned as the third party, so they could call her and talk to her and work with her directly, and she could call and make payments. And since then, they had never called and let me know that the payments weren't being made. And you talk to her and everything's going great, everything's going fine, and then it's like a piece of paper crosses my eye, and the fucking place is like 18 months behind already. I'm like, what the fuck?
Holy crap! Luckily, it hasn't got foreclosed on yet. Is there like an auction date or anything like that yet?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, cool, man. Well, I mean,
I think they're banking on me trying to call to be modified the loan again so that they can add that extra $20,000 on the principal.
Yeah.
On top of the fees and bullshit from the mispayments.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I mean, as far as they're concerned, like they, back in 2008, they sold the property for $110,000. As it was, it already fell behind once during my divorce, and then went up to like 160. And then I paid it back down to like around 152, 150 before I moved out. And now it's falling behind again. So now they're still dealing with the original balance of like 110.
Yeah.
But now they're looking at making like $200,000, $220,000 off of it. And
yeah,
the
that's crazy.
Price on it is $240, which I mean, granted, the place isn't it's not trashed, but it's not in pristine condition. So nobody's getting $240 for it as is. But I mean,
is it pretty much like rent ready?
Yeah, like some silly stuff. Like it needs like new fire detectors, and she's been doing like painting walls on the inside and stuff, and doing some work. So it needs like stupid shit like outlet covers and switch plate covers.
Okay.
And there's a spot in the kitchen where there used to be a pantry. She pulled the pantry out for some reason. So there's like maybe like a 14-inch by 14-inch like gap in the floor that she like covered with plywood in the kitchen, where the whole house is all hardwood.
Got it.
But it's like small, stupid stuff like that. Like a little piece that needs a piece of sheetrock, or like that floor, or like the plates and switch covers.
Yeah.
And like probably some fresh paint all over everything.
Got it. Okay. Have you tried to? Cool. Have you tried to get a loan modification at all yet?
Not yet.
Okay, that's
all, like very new. Like this was supposed to happen like at the beginning of last month.
Okay. Well, that's actually good news. Because depending on what the underwriting looks like, obviously those two options on your ends, either one of them pretty much look the same for you.
Yeah, I just wanted out of my hands. That thing has murdered my credit score. Like when I moved out of that place, I had like a 780, and since those payments have dropped, that's the only negative mark on my whole fucking credit report, and I'm down to like a 560.
Holy shit!
It's disgusting. My
Holy
credit
crap!
is completely shot to shit because of that one loan.
Well, the good news.
There was a point in time where when it was switching hands from loan modifications, it fell off my credit report for a while, and my credit instantly went back up to like a 720. But then all the writing went through, and those guys forwarded the paperwork with how behind it was, and then it immediately dropped back down to like 5.
Wow. Well, the good news is once it's performed on and everything's caught up and the loan's in good standing, hopefully that credit will start going back up.
Yeah.
Cool, Ben.
Yeah, if it's off my board, it'll help like immediately.
Exactly.
Plus, not having a registered missed payment every month will do wonders for updraft.
Well, that's what it is. That lady in Arizona, she's like, "Holy crap, my credit's already starting to go up." So, especially once the arrears are caught up, the creditors look at that like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, I mean, the one thing that we would need on your end is the total payoff statements and the mortgage statements just to check it out. Because what I'll do is I'll go back to underwrite the deal and see exactly which one of those two options would we can end up doing, and then from there, you know, we can close as fast as like probably 21, 30 days. We can start the process ASAP.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. So if you could, what I'll do, this is my personal cell phone number. I'm going to text you my email. If you can just shoot me over the latest mortgage statements, and you'll have to call the bank and get a total payoff statement. And it usually takes a couple of days for that to come in. But if you can do the both of those, and then obviously when you're talking to the banks, it's just like letting them know, hey, yeah, I'm running into some money. I'm trying to catch up the arrears and stuff like that. I want to keep the property. And then in their mind, they're like, okay, cool. And then they give you the total payoff. You have the statement. You send that over to us, and then we go back. We underwrite the deal. We see exactly which one of those two options make the most sense. On our end, we'll also go out and have a walkthrough of the property and check it out just to make sure everything's all set. And then, like I said, we can close as fast as 21 to 30 days.
That would be fantastic.
Cool, Ben. I appreciate you, brother. Do you have any questions for me at all?
No. You said you're going to text me over your email, and do you have a fax number too?
No, I don't have a fax, just an email. So this is my personal cell number, and I'll shoot you over my business email.
Okay, perfect.
Cool, brother. Appreciate you. I look forward to that email, and I'll talk to you probably on Monday.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. There's a lot to unpack on that call. If you have any questions about it, feel free to shoot me a DM at the Mike Gomes, or if you just have any real estate questions in general, feel free to shoot me a DM. Now, I also hope to see you guys on Facebook. Go to joinblueprintrei.com and get in that free private Facebook group. I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.